Anyone who has an active and long-time interest in music would most likely have heard of the Bach family and all the musicians who were produced under the name of Bach. Now, I can't verify total numbers of Bachs, but I can tell you that I think the Jamiesons could give them a run for their money. I consider myself very fortunate to know many members of this musically talented family and have had the privilege of sitting next to some of them at musical endeavors. Larry has helped me out on any number of occasions when I needed to put together a music group for various functions. I worked for many years alongside his brother Ted in several bands. Their brother Rex had been a member of the elite presidential fife and drum corps. The Walton Music House is now under the third generation of ownership, being started by Larry's father Arthur, who was also a career teacher and band director at Walton Central School. Many Waltonian piano players learned their skill under the tutelage of Larry's mom, Jerry. Large numbers of Jamieson's offspring and spouses are blessed with the wonderful gift of music talent and ability. Now, Larry studied music at the Hank Thompson School of Music in Oklahoma, part of the university, where he specialized in pedal steel guitar, but that's not the only instrument which showcases Larry's talents. We also have guitar and bass on the list, some brass, woodwinds, and most likely there are several other instruments that I don't even know about. I've seen him pick out a few tunes on the banjo, too. Although Larry has played in many bands in his lifetime, one of them being the notable Mustangs, embedded in Walton's history, there is much, Larry is also one, and currently one of the founding members of the ever popular Country Express. There's much more that I could easily add to this introduction, but let's allow Larry's talent to say the rest. Ladies and gentlemen, music lovers, I give you my friend, Larry Jamieson.
Thank you, Bill. I appreciate it. I've had the good pleasure of playing with Bill in a bluegrass band and some other bands. We also had a lot of fun. Bill's a major talent. I'd like to start this evening with an old train song that was written by Elizabeth Cotton and recorded on Folkway Records. Freight train going so fast. Freight train going so fast. I don't care what train I'm on as long as it keeps rolling on. When I die, just bury me deep down at the end of Old Chestnut Street, so I can hear old number 9 as she rolls down the line. When I'm dead and in my grave, no more good times will I crave. Marble slab at my head and feet tell the world I've gone to sleep. Freight train coming round the bend. Freight train gone again. One of these days turn that train around and go back to my hometown. One more place I'd love to see. One more place I long to be. To watch those Blue Ridge Mountains climb as I ride old number 9. Freight train going so fast. Freight train going so fast. Please don't tell what train I'm on so they won't know where I've gone. And I was brought up back in the 60s when there was a lot of folk music around, and one of the popular groups was the Kingston Trio. Anybody remember the Kingston Trio out there? It's past your bedtime. This is one of their tunes. He was born and raised around Jacksonville, a nice young lad, not the kind to kill, but a jealous fight and a flashing blade sent him on the run through the Everglades. where a man can hide and never be found, and have no fear of the baying hound. He better keep moving and don't stand still. If the skeeters don't get him, then the gators will. Well, the posse went in and they came back out. They said he'll die and there ain't no doubt. It's an eye for an eye, so the debt is paid. He won't last long in the Everglades, where a man can hide and never be found, and have no fear of the baying hound. He better keep moving and don't stand still. If the skeeters don't get him, the gators will. Well, the years went by and his girl was wed. His family gave him up for dead. But now and then the natives say they'll see him on a run through the Everglades, where a man can hide and never be found, and have no fear of the baying hound. He better keep moving and don't stand still. If the skeeters don't get him, then the gators will. Now he never heard the news on the radio. He was deep in the blade, so he'll never know. His running and hiding didn't make much sense. The inquest had ruled it was self-defense, where a man can hide and never be found, and have no fear of the baying hound. He better keep moving and don't stand still. If the skeeters don't get him, the gators will. Running like a dog through the Everglades, skipping like a frog through the Everglades. That's Kingston Trio song. The next song is another train song. This is Merle Haggard's song, and this is kind of a little story about the way he grew up. Merle was my favorite country artist in terms of both singing and songwriting. He had something like 38 #1 records during his career, and most of those tunes he wrote himself. This is one of them. First thing I remember knowing was a lonesome whistle blow, and a youngin' scream growing up to ride on a freight train leaving town, not knowing where I'm bound. No one could steer me right, but Mama tried. One and only rebel child from a family meek and high, but Mama seemed to know what lay in store. In spite of all my Sunday learning, toward the bed I kept on turning, till Mama couldn't hold me anymore. I turned 21 in prison, doing life without parole. No one could steer me right, but Mama tried, Mama tried, Mama tried to raise me better, but her bleeding eye denied. That leaves only me to blame, 'cause Mama tried. Dear old Daddy, rest his soul, left my mom a heavy load. She tried so very hard to fill his shoes, working hours without rest, wanted me to have the best. She tried to raise me right, but I refused. I turned 21 in prison, doing life without parole. No one could steer me right, but Mama tried, Mama tried, Mama tried to raise me better. Her bleeding I denied. That leaves only me to blame, 'cause Mama tried. That leaves only me to blame, 'cause Mama tried. And the next song probably came from down south somewhere, probably Kentucky or North Carolina, someplace like that. But I think it could have happened right up here around Delaware County somewhere. This is a song I learned from Joan Baez. She was another one of the 60s folk singers that I really liked. nevermore you shall toil. You just lie there by the juniper, under stars so bright. Watch those jugs a filling in the pale moonlight. My grandfather made whiskey, and his grandfather before. We ain't paid no whiskey tax since 1794. You just lie there by the juniper, under stars so bright. Watch those jugs a filling in the pale moonlight. Build your fire of hickory, hickory and ash and oak. Don't use no wet or rotten wood, they'll get you by the smoke. You just lie there by the juniper, under stars so bright. Watch those jugs a filling in the pale moonlight. This coronavirus hasn't been a good deal, and one of the victims of the coronavirus was an American folk singer-songwriter by the name of John Prine. Wrote a lot of good tunes, some folk, some country, some Americana. Won 3 Grammys, and this is one of his tunes. Talks about a place where the coal company came in and tore up the land, and I saw this personally. My wife is from Chelsea, Oklahoma, little town just outside of Chelsea called Winganon. And right around that area, there was lots of what she called coal pits, which were big places where the coal company had dug in, strip mined the land and just dug it all out. And then when they got done, they just left it that way. And not a pretty sight. When I was a child, my family would travel down to western Kentucky, where my parents were born. There's a backward old town there that's often remembered so many times that my memories are worn. Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County, down by the Green River where paradise lay? Well, I'm sorry, my son, but you're too late in asking. Mr. Peabody's coal train has hauled it away. Well, sometimes we travel right down the Green River to the abandoned old prison down by Adbury Hill, where the air smelled like snakes and we'd shoot with our pistols, but empty pop bottles is all we would kill. And Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County, down by the Green River where paradise lay? Well, I'm sorry, my son, but you're too late in asking. Mr. Peabody's coal train has hauled it away. The coal company came with the world's largest shovel. They tortured the timber and stripped all the land. Well, they dug for the coal till the land was forsaken. Then they wrote it all down as the progress of man. Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County, down by the Green River where paradise lay? Well, I'm sorry, my son, but you're too late in asking. Mr. Peabody's coal train hauled it away. When I die, let my ashes float down the Green River. Let my soul roll on up to the Rochester Dam. I'd be halfway to heaven with paradise waiting, just 5 miles away from wherever I am. Daddy, won't you take me back to Muhlenberg County, down by the Green River where paradise lay? Well, I'm sorry, my son, but you're too late in asking. Mr. Peabody's coal train has hauled it away. I'd like to do another train song. I enjoy train songs, have a lot of them in my repertoire. This one goes back to 1929. Was first recorded by Jimmy Rogers. All around the water tank, waiting for a train, 1,000 miles away from home, sleeping in the rain. I walked up to a brakeman just to give him a line of talk. He said, if you've got money, I'll see that you don't walk. Well, I haven't got a nickel, not a penny can I show. He said, get off, you railroad bum, and he slammed that boxcar door. Yodelay, yodelay, yodelay. He put me off in Texas, a place I surely love. Wide open spaces around me, and the moon and stars above. Nobody seems to want me, or will lend me a helping hand. My pocket, I'm far away from Frisco, going back to Dixieland. My pocketbook is empty, and my heart is filled with pain. I'm 1,000 miles away from home, just waiting on a train. Yodelay, yodelay, yodelay. Here's another tune. This one's a little more current, and again by my favorite country artist, Merle Haggard. It's a big job just getting by with 9 kids and a wife. I've been a working man dang near all my life. I'll keep on working as long as these 2 hands are fit to use. I drink a little beer in the tavern and sing a little day's working man blues. Well, I keep my nose to the grindstone, work hard every day. Might get a little tight on the weekend after I draw my pay, but I'll go back working. Monday morning, I'm right back with the crew. I drink a little beer in the tavern and sing a little day's working man blues. Sometime I think about leaving, doing a little bumming around. Want to throw my bills out the window, catch a train to another town, but I'll go back working. Gotta buy my kids a brand new pair of shoes. I drink a little beer in the tavern and sing a little day's working man. Well, hey, the working man like me, ain't never been on welfare. That's one place I won't be. I'll keep on working, as long as these 2 hands are fit to use. I drink a little beer in the tavern and sing a little day's working man. Yeah, drink a little beer in the tavern and sing a little day's working man. Working man blues, Mr. Merle Haggard. See what else we got on the stand here. This is an old bluegrass favorite there. Used to do this tune with Bill and the banjo and the bluegrass band. She walks through the corn, leading down to the river. Her hair shone like gold in the hot morning sun. She took all the love that a poor boy could give her and left me to die like a fox on the run. Like a fox, like a fox, like a fox on the run. Well, everybody knows the reason for the fall, how a woman tempted man down in Paradise Hall. This woman tempted me and she took me for a ride. Now like a weary fox, I need a place to hide. She walks through the corn, leading down to the river. Her hair shone like gold in the hot morning sun. She took all the love that a poor boy could give her and left me to die like a fox on the run. Like a fox, like a fox, like a fox on the run. Well, we'll drink a glass of wine now to fortify our souls. We'll talk about the world and the friends we used to know. I've seen a string of girls that put me on the floor. My race is almost run. The hounds are at my door. She walks through the corn, leading down to the river. Her hair shone like gold in the hot morning sun. She took all the love that a poor boy could give her and left me to die like a fox on the run. Like a fox, like a fox, like a fox on the run. Bluegrass for you tonight. Got another train song here. This is one of my favorite train songs. This one was written by a guy originally from Oneonta, New York, Jimmy Buffett, not Jimmy Buffett, Jerry Jeff Walker, and Jimmy Buffett's a co-writer on it too. She's a railroad lady, a little bit shady, spending her days on the train. She's a semi-good looker, but the fast rails, they took her. Now she's trying, just trying to get home again. South Station in Boston to the stockyards of Austin, from the Florida sunshine to the New Orleans rain. Now that the rail packs have taken the best track, she's trying, just trying to get home again. She's a railroad lady, she's a little bit shady, spending her days on the train. She's a semi-good looker, but the fast rails, they took her. Now she's trying, just trying to get home again. Once a highball and loner thought he could own her. He bought her a fur coat and a big diamond ring. She hocked them for cold cash, left town on the Wabash, never thinking, never dreaming of home way back then. But the rails are now rusty and the dining car's dusty. The gold-plated watches have taken their toll. And the railroads are dying. The lady, she's crying on a bus to Kentucky and home, that's her goal. She's a railroad lady, a little bit shady, spending her days on the train. Once a Pullman car traveler, now the brakeman won't have her. She's trying, just trying to get home again. On a bus to Kentucky and home once again. We're up late. See how I'm doing on time here. This tune was written by the Burns Sisters, a folk group from Ithaca, New York. I was fortunate to see them live one time over in Oxford, and I've seen some of their videos, and I've got some of their CDs. Really talented group of sisters, both writing and singing, real nice harmonies and nice tunes. And this is a good tune that's kind of apropos for the time. I'm gonna dance upon this earth. I'm gonna find some joy in all this madness. I'm gonna be the one that you see, living here and now and feeling free. I have always been a dreamer since I was a little boy. Someone's always trying to change me. That can't happen now. I'll do as I please. Yes, I'm gonna dance upon this earth. I'm gonna find some joy in all this madness. I'm gonna be the one that you see, living here and now and feeling free. I remember from my childhood words my grandma gave to me. She said, Jesus died for all the sinners. You gotta suffer in this world to find eternity. No, I'm gonna dance upon this earth. I'm gonna find the joy in all this madness. I'm gonna be the one that you see. Living here and now and feeling free. I'm so tired of feeling angry, holding someone else's shame. The world's so cold and full of sorrow. I'm gonna find a way, I'm gonna break the chain, and I'm gonna dance upon this earth. I'm gonna find in all this madness. I'm gonna be the one that you see. Living here and now and feeling free. New York. Let's see what we've got time for here. We'll do another Kingston Trio song. Well, I'm going away for leave, and I might not come back anymore. If I never more see your face again, and it's honey on that far distant shore, honey on that far distant shore. I'm going down to New Orleans just to ride on the river boat. Gotta keep a bailing all night long just to keep that darn boat afloat. Yes, I'm going away for to leave you, and I might not come back anymore. If I never more see your face again, then it's honey on that far distant shore, honey on that far distant shore. Well, here's where I was born and raised, where the cold, cold north winds blow. Now I'm going down to Tennessee, where my good girl only knows it snowed this morning. I'm going away for to leave, and I might not come back anymore. If I never more see your face again, and it's honey on that far distant shore, honey on that far distant shore. So keep a light in your window and keep it burning bright. Someday a young man will come along, someone who treats you right for a girl, someone who treats you right. 'Cause I'm going away for to leave you, and I might not come back anymore. If I never more see your face again, and it's honey on that far distant shore, honey on that far distant shore. See what else we got here. Tell you a story or two. I started playing ukulele, I guess, when I was about 7 or 8 years old. My dad and I built a ukulele out of a cigar box and a slab of wood and some tuners on the end, and only had 3 frets on it, but that was enough to play a lot of chords, and I got started on that, and then eventually went on to a fairly short electric guitar, a Gibson Melody Maker that my dad had, and that had a real nice neck on it. It was easy to learn how to play. By the time I was, I guess, 15 or so, we had put together a rock and roll band with myself and John Clark on keyboards and Steve Rowell on guitar and my brother Rex on bass and David Lynch on the drums. He went down to Binghamton and studied at the Tony Montfort School of Percussion, and he got to be a really good drummer. And so that was kind of my introduction to getting out and playing, but I did play with my dad quite a lot on and off during the years. He played square dances, and he played proms. He had a prom band and played, popular music, and he played a lot of the big band music from the big band era, World War II era. That was his music. While he was in the Army in World War II, they found out he just gotten finished with Ithaca College and had a degree in music, so they put him in the Army Air Corps Band down in Florida, and that's where he spent World War II. He told me a story about he played a square dance one night. I think it was over somewhere around Mount Upton, and he was playing fiddle that night, And during a break, he laid his fiddle down on the chair while some guy who'd had a little too much to drink came along and sat down on the fiddle and crunched. That was the end of the fiddle. But he was real apologetic, and he told my dad he'd get him another fiddle. And sure enough, within a few days, he'd come up with another fiddle and gotten it to my father. And my father was at Ithaca College at the time going to school, and he took the new fiddle to his violin lesson and played it for the teacher. And the teacher said, "Gee, your violin sounds a lot better this week than it did last." So I guess in the end, he wound up with a better violin than he'd started with. Got one more fun song I'll do for you before we wrap it up here and get the capo on the right fret here. Well, old Farmer Johnson had troubles of his own, had an ornery cat that wouldn't leave his home. He tried and he tried to give that cat away. He gave it to a man going far, far away. But the cat came back the very next day. Yeah, the cat came back. Thought he was a goner, but the cat came back. Just wouldn't stay away. Now old Brother Bill swore he'd kill that sad sight. He loaded up his gun with rocks and dynamite. He waited and he waited for that cat to come around. 47 pieces of old Bill was all they found. But the cat came back the very next day. Yeah, the cat came back. Thought he was a goner, but the cat came back. Just wouldn't stay away. That cat was a possessor of a family of his own. 7 little kittens till there was a cyclone. The house began to shudder, there were buildings falling down. Not a single trace of those kittens was ever found. But the cat came back very next day. Yeah, the cat came back. Thought he was a goner, but the cat came back. Just wouldn't stay away. Now they gave it to a man going up in a balloon. Told him to give that cat to the man in the moon. The balloon got busted and down it sped. 50 miles away they found that pilot dead. But the cat came back the very next day. Yeah, the cat came back. Thought he was a goner, but the cat came back. Just wouldn't stay away. Now, I got to apologize to all you cat lovers out there for this last verse. And you may want to put in your earplugs. You may want to get your handkerchiefs ready in case a tear might escape your eye. And for the rest of you folks, I want you to think long and hard before you go to the county fair this coming year and get one of those Polish sausages. Well, they took him to the shop where the meat was ground. Put him in the hopper when the butcher wasn't round. The cat went in with a blood-curdling scream. The town's meat was furry for more than a week. But the cat came back the very next day. Yeah, the cat came back. Thought he was a goner, but the cat came back. Just wouldn't stay away. Just wouldn't stay away. Well, thank you, folks. I've enjoyed playing some music for you tonight. I hope you've all...
Same time, same station, we have Linda Hickman, the champion flautist, specialized in Irish music. She's been at the Walton Music House, the Walton Music House, right? The music on the Delaware, get that in my mind. Music on the Delaware Coffee Houses before. We're glad and very honored to have her back again. So we'll see you all next week.